during the reign of the famous folklores, was a girl born who soared from grace to grace and became a sensation in the world of music. This happened in the bustling city of Lagos during the 1970s. The young girl was named Emeka. Born into a very poor family, her dreams often seemed out of reach. She barely managed to finish secondary school due to financial difficulties, but she held on to one precious gift, her voice. Every evening at 7 p.m., she would watch folklores perform on their old TV set, captivated by his revolutionary music and powerful presence. It was a short-lived escape before her father returned to watch the 9 p.m. NTA news. Unable to afford university, Emeka started selling bread and butter in the chaotic streets of Lagos. By night, she sang at Iyabo's local bar, her soulful voice drawing in the modest crowd. One early morning, Emeka's mother called out from the kitchen, "Emeka, hurry up and get ready. The bread won't sell itself." "Yes, Mama," Emeka replied, quickly tying her headscarf and gathering her things. Her father, returning from a night shift, gave her a tired but warm smile. "You're doing us proud, my girl. Keep working hard." "I will, Papa," Emeka said, hugging him tightly before heading out. The streets of Lagos were already bustling with activity. Emeka navigated through the maze of vendors, each calling out to potential customers. She set up her small stall near the busier parts of the market, her voice ringing out as she advertised her bread and butter. "Fresh bread, get your fresh bread here." Emeka called out, her smile drawing in a steady stream of customers. An elderly woman approached her stall. "Emeka, you have the best bread in this market. Give me 2 loaves." "Thank you, Mama Iyabo. Here you go," Emeka said, handing over the loaves with a grateful smile. As the day went on, Emeka's younger siblings arrived to help her. Her brother Tun tried to mimic her sales pitch, much to her amusement. "Fresh bread, get your fresh bread." Tun shouted, his young voice earnest. Emeka laughed, ruffling his hair. "Good job, Tun, you're a natural." By evening, after a long day at the market, Emeka returned home to find her family gathered for dinner. The small room was filled with the aroma of a simple meal and the warmth of her family's love. "How was the market today?" her mother asked, dishing out food. "It was good, Mama. We sold almost everything," Emeka replied, tired but content. Her father nodded approvingly. "You're doing well, Emeka. We're proud of you." Her youngest sister Ada chimed in, "Will you sing for us tonight, Emeka?" Emeka smiled, nodding. "Of course, Ada, after dinner." Later that night, after dinner was cleared away, Emeka sang for her family. Her voice filled their small home, carrying the dreams and hopes of a better future. Her family listened in rapt attention, their hearts swelling with pride and love. "Emeka, your voice is a gift," her mother said, tears in her eyes. "One day, it will take you far." "I believe it will, ma'am, for all of us," Emeka replied, her voice firm with determination. One afternoon, as Emeka and her siblings played outside, their neighbor, Mr. Okafor, approached with a smile. "Emeka, I heard you sing at the bar last night. You were wonderful." "Thank you, Mr. Okafor," Emeka said, blushing slightly. "I'm just trying to make a better life for my family. You're on the right path." "Keep going and never forget where you come from," Mr. Okafor advised, his eyes kind. One evening, after a particularly grueling day at the market, Emeka found herself reflecting on her journey. The bustling streets, the supportive neighbors, and the unwavering love of her family had shaped her into who she was. As she looked out at the vibrant city, she whispered to herself, "This is my home, these are my people, I will make them proud." And with that, she knew that no matter how far she went, she would always carry a piece of Lagos and her family with her. Their love and support are the foundation of her dreams. One sunny afternoon, Emeka was busy selling bread and butter in the bustling streets of Lagos. The air was thick with the scents of various street foods, and the sounds of vendors calling out their wares filled the air. Emeka's voice rose above the din as she advertised her fresh bread. "Fresh bread, get your fresh bread here." She called out, her bright smile drawing in a steady stream of customers. As she was counting her change after a sale, a shiny green beetle car slowly approached and stopped beside her stall. Emeka barely noticed it until a handsome young man stepped out. He was well dressed in a crisp shirt and trousers, a stark contrast to the chaotic street scene. "Hello," the man greeted, his voice warm and polite. "Can I get a loaf of bread, please?" Emeka looked up, momentarily taken aback by his appearance. "Of course," she replied, quickly wrapping a loaf in brown paper and handing it to him. "That'll be 1 naira." The man handed her the money, his eyes lingering on her face for a moment. "Thank you," he said, smiling. "I'm Peter, by the way." "Nice to meet you, Peter," Emeka replied, her curiosity piqued. "I'm Emeka." Peter's gaze was kind and curious. "Emeka, do you sell here every day?" "Yes, every day," she confirmed, wondering where this conversation was leading. Peter hesitated for a moment, then spoke. "I couldn't help but notice how well you interact with people. You have a certain presence." Emeka laughed softly, her cheeks flushing. "Thank you, I try my best." Intrigued by her beauty and calm demeanor, Peter decided to take a chance. "Do you mind if I walk with you for a bit? I'd like to know more about you." Emeka was taken aback by his forwardness but nodded. "Sure, why not? I'm done for the day anyway." They walked through the busy streets, Emeka balancing her bread basket on her hip while Peter carried the remaining loaves. As they walked, they talked about their lives. "So, Emeka, do you have any other passions besides selling bread?" Peter asked, genuinely interested. "Well," Emeka began, a little shyly, "I love singing. I perform at a local bar called Iyabo's in the evenings." Peter's eyes lit up. "Singing, you say? That's wonderful. I'd love to hear you sometime. You can come by tonight if you're free," Emeka offered, her heart racing with a mix of excitement and nervousness. "I'll be there," Peter promised, smiling. As they reached Emeka's home, Peter handed back the bread loaves. "Thank you for letting me walk with you. I will see you tonight." Emeka nodded, her smile genuine. "Thank you for the company, Peter." Later that evening, Peter kept his word and visited Iyabo's bar. He watched in awe as Emeka took the stage, her voice captivating the modest crowd. After her performance, Peter approached her, his admiration evident. "Emeka, you were amazing," Peter said, his voice filled with awe. "Thank you, Peter, I'm glad you enjoyed it," Emeka replied, her heart swelling with happiness. One day, as she hummed a tune while walking home, a beetle car slowly approached and stopped beside her. "Emeka, let me help you with those," Peter offered, taking the heavy bags from her. "Thank you, Peter. How was your day?" Emeka asked, leading him inside. "It was busy, but seeing you makes it all worth it," Peter replied, smiling. They sat on the porch, enjoying the cool evening breeze. Peter often visited, bringing small gifts or just his comforting presence. "You know," Peter began, "I heard you singing at Iyabo's last night. You were incredible." Emeka blushed, looking down at her hands. "Thank you, Peter. Singing there is the best part of my day." Peter took her hand, looking into her eyes. "You have a gift, Emeka. I believe in you. And I want to help you achieve your dreams." Peter, as it turned out, was Fela Rusto's accountant. To Emeka, this seemed like a sign from the universe. One night, Peter visited the bar and heard her sing. Amazed by her talent, he decided to introduce her to Fela. Their first meeting was a success. Fela, impressed by her raw talent and passion, took her under his wing. Under his guidance, Emeka flourished. She began making money and was able to lift her family out of the slums. One rainy evening, Peter took her to the Republic, Fela's communal compound in Lagos. The air was thick with anticipation as Emeka stepped into the vibrant world she had only seen on TV. "Fela, this is Emeka, the girl I told you about," Peter introduced her, his voice tinged with pride. Fela, dressed in his signature colorful attire, looked at her with keen interest. "Ah, Emeka, Peter's been singing your praises. Let's see what you've got." Emeka's heart raced. She cleared her throat and began to sing one of Fela's songs. Her voice, though nervous at first, grew stronger and more confident with each note. When she finished, the room was silent, save for the hum of the rain outside. Fella clapped, a wide grin spreading across his face. "You've got talent, girl. Real talent, but talent alone isn't enough. Are you ready to work hard?" "Yes, sir." "I'm ready," Emeka replied, determination shining in her eyes. From that day, Emeka's life changed dramatically. Fella took her under his wing, mentoring her and providing her with opportunities she had only dreamed of. Their conversations were a blend of music, philosophy, and life lessons. One afternoon, as they practiced in the studio, Fella turned to her, a thoughtful expression on his face. "Emeka, music is more than just entertainment, it's a weapon. It's how we fight for our rights and tell our stories, do you understand?" Emeka nodded. "Yes, Fella. I want my music to make a difference, just like yours does." Fella smiled, pleased with her response. "Good. Remember, stay true to yourself and your roots. Never let fame change who you are." Fella introduced Emeka to the pulsating nightlife of Lagos, where she performed alongside him and his band, Naya Life. The audiences were large and enthusiastic, their energy fueling her performances. Each show was a new opportunity to refine her craft and connect with people through her music. One night, after a particularly electrifying performance, Fella pulled her aside. "You're becoming a star, Emeka. But with fame comes responsibility. Always use your voice for good." "I will, Fella, I promise," Emeka replied earnestly. As Emeka's fame grew, so did the opportunities. Fella arranged for her to record her own album, guiding her through the process. They spent countless hours in the studio, Fella pushing her to explore new sounds and themes. "Emeka, don't be afraid to experiment," Fella advised during one recording session. "Innovation is what keeps music alive." Emeka embraced his advice, blending traditional African rhythms with contemporary sounds. Her album was a success, earning critical acclaim and propelling her further into the limelight. Despite her rising fame, Fella remained a constant source of support and wisdom. One day, sensing her growing restlessness, he invited her to his private quarters for a heart-to-heart conversation. "Emeka, I see you're struggling with the pressures of fame," Fella began, his tone gentle. "Remember why you started this journey. Stay grounded and true to your music." Emeka sighed, grateful for his insight. "Thank you, Fella. Sometimes it's hard to stay focused with everything happening so fast." Fella nodded, his eyes reflecting his own battles with fame. "It's a challenge, but you're strong. Always remember your roots and the people who helped you get here." Under Fella's mentorship, Emeka not only became a star but also found her voice as an artist with a message. She sang about social issues, using her platform to advocate for change. Their bond grew just stronger, as Fella built on mutual respect and a shared love for music, and even as the music industry evolved. Fella's teachings remained with Emeka, guiding her through the highs and lows of her career. Through Fella, Emeka learned that true success was not just about fame or wealth, but about staying true to oneself and using one's voice to make a positive impact. And in the end, that was the greatest gift he could have given her. As Emeka's star began to rise under Fella's mentorship, she faced not only the challenges of fame, but also the complexities of navigating the dynamics within Fella's inner circle. The Queens, as Fella's female dancers and singers were known, had been with him for years, and they were fiercely loyal. Emeka's sudden prominence stirred feelings of jealousy and rivalry among them. One evening, after a particularly successful performance at the Shrine, Fella's iconic nightclub, Emeka was in high spirits. She had captivated the audience with her powerful voice, and Fella had praised her highly. However, not everyone shared in her joy. "Look at her, acting like she owns the place," muttered BC, one of Fella's longtime dancers, as Emeka walked by. "Yes, she thinks she's so special just because Fella likes her," added Funk, another dancer, her voice dripping with disdain. Emeka overheard their whispers and felt a pang of hurt, but she tried to brush it off. She had worked hard to earn her place and didn't want to let their words affect her. Later that night, in the dressing room, the tension finally boiled over. Emeka was removing her makeup when BC and Funk confronted her. "Emeka, we need to talk," BC said, her tone icy. Emeka turned to face them, her expression wary. "What is it?" "You think you're better than us because fella gives you special attention," Funk accused, crossing her arms. "I don't think I'm better than anyone," Emeka replied, trying to stay calm. "I'm just doing my best. Your best, huh? You've been here for what? A few months. We've been with fella for years," BC snapped, her eyes flashing with anger. "You have no right to act like you're the star." Emeka took a deep breath, trying to control her emotions. "I'm not trying to take anything away from you. We're all part of the same team." "Team, don't make us laugh," Funk retorted. "You're just using fella to get ahead." The argument grew more heated, voices rising and accusations flying. Just as things seemed about to get physical, fella himself entered the room. "What's going on here?" he demanded, his presence instantly silencing the room. The queens stepped back, their anger momentarily subdued. Emeka, tears brimming in her eyes, looked at Fella. "Fella, I didn't mean to cause any trouble," Emeka stammered. Fella's gaze swept over the room, taking in the tension. "BC, Funk, what is this about?" "She's trying to take over, fella," BC said, her voice softer now but still accusatory. "She's acting like she's better than us." Fella shook his head, a look of disappointment crossing his face. "We're all here because of our love for music. There's no place for jealousy. Emeka is talented, yes, but so are all of you. We must support each other, not tear each other down." "But fella," Funk began, but fella raised a hand to silence her. "No more. We work together, or we don't work at all," he said firmly. "Emeka, you're part of this family now, and in this family, we respect each other." Emeka nodded, her heart heavy. "Thank you, fella, I just want to be part of the team." The queens, though still resentful, nodded reluctantly. Fella's word was final, and they had no choice but to accept it. However, as Emeka's star rose, she found herself swept into the whirlwind of the big girl's life. Lavish parties, influential friends, and the glitz of the entertainment world became her new reality. The humble girl who once sold bread on the streets was now a household name, adored by fans and courted by the elite. One evening, after a glamorous event at a luxurious hotel, Peter waited for Emeka at their modest home. She arrived late, dressed in an expensive gown, a stark contrast to their simple surroundings. "Emeka, we need to talk," Peter said, his voice heavy with concern. Emeka sighed, barely looking at him as she removed her jewelry. "Peter, I'm exhausted. Can it wait?" "It can't keep waiting, Emeka. You've been avoiding me for weeks now." "What's going on?" Peter asked, frustration evident in his voice. "I'm busy, Peter. This is my time. I've worked hard for this," Emeka replied, her tone defensive. "I know you have, but you're losing yourself." "This isn't the Emeka I fell in love with," Peter said softly. "People change, Peter. Maybe it's time you accept that," Emeka snapped, turning away. Days turned into weeks, and Emeka's distance grew. She was constantly surrounded by wealthy admirers and industry insiders who showered her with attention and gifts. The allure of her new life became too tempting to resist. One night, after a particularly extravagant party, Emeka returned home to find Peter waiting up for her again. "Emeka, we can't go on like this," Peter began, his voice a mix of sadness and resolve. She rolled her eyes, pouring herself a drink. "What now, Peter? Another lecture about how I've changed. I just want to understand. What happened to us?" Peter asked, his eyes searching hers. Emeka sighed, sitting down across from him. "Look, Peter, we come from different worlds now. I can't keep pretending that everything is the same." Peter's face fell, but he kept his voice steady. "You're letting these people and this lifestyle change you. Don't forget where you came from, Emeka. Maybe you're the one who can't keep up." Emeka shot back, her words cutting deep. As her relationship with Peter frayed, Emeka became more entangled with the influential men in the music industry. One such figure was Chief Moses, a powerful music producer who promised to take her career to even greater heights. "Emeka, darling, you need to focus on your future. Peter is holding you back," Chief Moses said one evening at a high-end bar. "Peter has always been there for me," Emeka replied, though her conviction wavered. Chief Moses leaned closer, his voice smooth and persuasive. "But can he give you the world? Think about it. You deserve everything, and I can help you get it." Eventually, the rift between Emeka and Peter became too wide to bridge. One fateful night, after another argument, Peter made a final plea. "Emeka, I love you, but I can't watch you lose yourself like this," Peter said, his voice breaking. Emeka turned away, tears welling in her eyes. "I'm sorry, Peter, but I need to follow my own path." Peter nodded, his heart heavy. "I hope you find what you're looking for." As Peter walked out, Emeka felt a pang of regret, but she pushed it aside, convinced that her new life was worth the sacrifice. Months passed, and Emeka's star continued to rise. She enjoyed the trappings of fame, but deep down, a part of her felt hollow. The men who had once flocked to her side began to drift away as Fela's influence in the music industry waned. One night, after a particularly lonely party, Emeka sat in her luxurious apartment, reflecting on the choices she had made. The bustling streets, the supportive neighbors, and the unwavering love of her family had shaped her into who she was. One evening, Peter re-entered her life. He found her sitting alone, her once vibrant spirit dimmed. "Emeka," he said softly, his voice filled with compassion. She looked up, tears streaming down her face. "Peter, I'm so sorry. I've been such a fool." Peter sat beside her, taking her hand in his. "It's okay, Emeka. I never stopped believing in you. Let's find your path again, together." Emeka nodded, her heart swelling with gratitude. "Thank you, Peter. I don't deserve you." "Everyone deserves a second chance," Peter replied, his smile gentle. With Peter's unwavering support, Emeka began to rebuild her life and career, rediscovering her love for music and the values she had once cherished. She realized that no amount of fame or fortune could ever replace the love and grounding Peter had given her. One evening, Emeka stood on stage at the shrine where it had all begun. The air crackled with anticipation as she prepared to perform her latest composition, a tribute to the spirit of Lagos and the enduring legacy of Afrobeat. The crowd, a diverse tapestry of faces from all walks of life, cheered as Emeka took the microphone. Her voice, once a whisper in the streets, now soared like a clarion call, carrying with it the hopes and dreams of a nation. As she sang, Emeka felt a sense of fulfillment unlike anything she had ever known. She looked out at the sea of faces, each one a testament to the power of music to unite and inspire. After the performance, Emeka was approached by a young girl, eyes wide with admiration. "You're amazing," the girl said breathlessly. "I want to be just like you when I grow up." Emeka smiled, kneeling down to meet the girl's gaze. "You can be anything you want to be," she replied, her voice gentle yet firm. "Never let anyone tell you otherwise.